Hi, welcome back to my channel. Quick recap. Today, I am going to explain Abigail movie. That is an adventure fantasy film. Watch out and take care. The movie starts with a girl named Abigail. Little Abigail was rushing through the forest when she realized that her father was not there to carry her, means she get lost to her dad, Jonathan. But at last, Jonathan finds her and teaches her how to find a way through tough times with the help of the stars. And they hurries towards home. William Garrett, the head of the security department, meets Jonathan and Abigail Foster on Main Street. The girl joyfully throws her arms around the old man's neck, but he appears unhappy upon seeing one of his employees and quickly infers that the patrolmen have arrived to meet him. Here we learn that Jonathan is a scientist and works in the lab with his team. Jonathan tells Garrett to give him some time, and then he will go with him. Jonathan wants to tuck his daughter into bed for the final time by her hands. As Abigail enters her father's office, she notices him concealing something behind the mirror in a secret compartment. Jonathan enters the bedroom of Abigail after bidding the girl goodnight with a kiss. Before going, he gifts her a pendant and tells her to always wear it. Abigail loves it so much that she wears it and falls asleep. Abigail is awakened shortly in the middle of the night by the screams of her mother. Abigail goes outside and sees her father and some team members are arrested by Garrett. Despite her efforts to catch the car, they take her father away. After many years passes, Abigail has reached adulthood. She is sleeping peacefully in her bed and appears to be floating in the air while asleep. Suddenly, she awakens and falls back onto her bed. After discovering a note written the address of a meeting place, Abigail heads to town to reach the destination. As Abigail navigates through the streets, she hears a repeated announcement warning the residents of an unknown disease that has been spreading for years and poses a threat to everyone. The government is using a specialized device to eliminate those infected peoples, sending them to their demise through lethal injection. The city has been enclosed within a high fence to keep it secure, and no one is allowed to cross the barrier. As night starts, a curfew is declared in the city, but two groups of troublemakers converge at the outskirts of the town. As Abigail is standing there, a car passes by, and the guards attempt to check her and her group. However, Abigail refuses to comply with the inspection, and a guard tries to forcibly search her. During the fight, the guard's mask falls off, revealing his true identity as Roy, a former member of her father's team who was arrested with her father. Upon seeing Roy's face, Abigail is shocked and fearful of being caught, causing her to flee the scene. She recalls a childhood memory of her father, Jonathan, sharing some secrets with Roy. However, her recollection is interrupted by her mother, who reminds her of Frontier Day. Margaret requests her daughter to go outside and get some flour, but the young girl is hesitant to leave the safety of her covers, anticipating that someone might come for her. Abigail is only ready to comply when her mother attracts the notice of people passing by, attempting to embarrass her lazy daughter. As soon as Abigail goes outside, a police officer begins to follow her. Upon her return home, Abby hides herself behind a corner, and her mother drops a clay pot onto the head of the person who was following her. When guard Roy's mask is removed, Margaret and Abigail are shocked to see Roy. Abigail tells her mother that if Roy managed to survive, it could also mean that her father is still alive and they could meet with him. Margaret and Abigail ask Roy how he got free from the hands of the guards when he regains consciousness and learns that they have no way of escaping. Roy discloses to Margaret and Abigail that following his arrest, the officers offered him with two options. Either he would have to work with them or be sent to the infected zone. To protect his family from being arrested, Roy chose to collaborate with the guards and hid them in a secret location. However, Abigail starts blackmailing him, threatening to expose his family's whereabouts to the guards unless he takes her to her father. Roy pleads with her to spare his family and tells that as far as anyone knows, only Ethan Blake is aware of Jonathan's whereabouts. Ethan Blake is her dad's partner. Abigail notices something in Roy's pocket and takes it out. That is an internal map of the city, which includes directions to a tunnel that runs through Ethan's office. With the help of maps, Abigail sets out on a mission to find Jonathan. However, while going through the map, she stumbles upon a shocking discovery. She witnesses Garrett torturing several individuals. Abigail quickly flees from the location. She then starts climbing into the home of Ethan Blake. Abigail discovers some valuable documents. However, she is unable to leave in time and hide under a nearby table. She manages to overhear a conversation between Ethan that reveals he is planning to leave town soon. Seeing this as an opportunity to escape, Abigail sneaks into the trunk of Ethan's car. However, she is unaware that she is being followed. As Ethan Blake drives, his path is suddenly obstructed by an unknown man wearing a cloak and carrying a gun. He He makes the hostage to Ethan and forcefully asks him to go to a building. After that, they reach to a location where infected peoples are held in a building. After Ethan and the stranger leave, Abigail climbs out of the trunk and begins to look around. She soon spots a massive flying machine hovering overhead, where the wealthy government officials reside. Abigail takes entry mutely and finds that infected people are being sent to the tunnel. However, she doesn't understand anything and a way back to the street. When she comes out, she is confronted with a horrific scene of bodies flying in a cloud of smoke, and it's unclear who is fighting against whom. Abigail suddenly finds herself caught in a strange flash of light, and she falls to the ground. Abigail is carried away from the battlefield by a hooded stranger. In the chaos, a pendant that was presented to her by her father falls into the hands of someone else and is left behind in the snow. Abigail is brought to the camp. Then she had a dream in her unconsciousness, in which Jonathan tells us that there are some strangers in this world who have gifted some special abilities. These strangers are recognized by their eyes only. Then he tells him about a king who did not want anyone else's yes to shine but his. Upon regaining consciousness, Abigail attempts to escape, but when she steps outside, she discovers that she has entered a fantastical, enchanting, and magical world. Abigail meets Spencer, who reveals that she is one of the gifted people who have special abilities. He explains that the authorities have created a fake epidemic as a cover-up to capture and eliminate these people so that they can keep their power. Spencer takes Abby to meet Marcus, a local wizard who teaches her how to use her abilities in this magical world of gifted individuals, not share power with them. Spencer tells her that every stranger needs a device to use their powers, and she will also have to acquire one with the help of which she will be able to use her powers. After that, Abby observes something unordinary, and her curiousness prompts her to take the device without authorization, resulting in a series of sparks to shoot out and travel down the street. A sense of fear spreads through the neighborhood when a resident alerts everyone that the faceless men are approaching. In moments, the magical street transforms into a destitute community, with only a few individuals dressed in shabby attire left standing. The patrolling officers depart, avoiding getting involved, and the street starts to buzz with activity. A stranger named Bale comes to visit Spencer in the area. Actually, he is that hooded man. He had brought Abigail to his area because he had recognized that the Abigail is a stranger. Spencer requests to Bale that he instructs Abby, who, as per the old man, possesses exceptional physical prowess. Then bring Abigail into the hall and immediately notices her father's photograph displayed among images of criminals on a booth. Without sufficient time to converse with them, Bale grants her a brief period to prepare herself before initiating her training. Abigail does not succeed in her training, so Bale to prohibit her from taking part in the war. Upon knowing Abby's father's identity, the guy said to Abigail that he will turn her into the hands of Inspector if she'll try to escape. Abby recollects how her father had shown her adult version of her in a reflection. After reflecting on her memories, Abby finds out Spencer's guidance to assist her in learning how to manage her unique abilities. The elderly man informs Abby about the magical gadgets, but he keeps forgetting what he just mentioned every few seconds. As the old man reveals the hiding spot in the wall to Abby, she recalls her father's mirror. Abby manages to escape without clarifying to Bale the reason behind her urgency, and the man returns to interrogating the patrolman and quarreling with the malicious Stella. Upon opening the mirror, Abby discovers her father's documents along with a weird object inside it. As Abby attempts to decipher the weird object, Margaret, her mother, who was in worry for her daughter, enters the room. Abby discloses to her mother all that she has discovered about her father's locket and comes to the realization that all these years he had been suppressing her abilities to prevent her from being identified as infected. Abby informs her mother that she intends to embark on a quest to find her father. Despite being concerned for her daughter's safety, Margaret allows her to go, hoping that Abby follows her instincts. Abby locates Roy, and upon displaying him the sketches of her father, insists that he reveal to her the whereabouts of the place. Roy discloses to Abby that all the individuals with unique abilities are confined in a specialized prison. If they killed by chance would cause their power to be released back into the city. Abby employs blackmail tactics on the traitor, force him into meeting her at midnight to guide her through the tunnels to the flying vehicle that will transport her to the prison. Abby heads back to the rebel encampment and informs them about the prison, proposing that they launch a joint attack on it. However, Bale interrupts and orders Abby to remain silent. Bale, harboring suspicions about Abby's true intentions due to her father being the inventor of the diagnostic device, dismisses her proposal and drives her away, displaying no inclination to pursue her strategy. Abigail is betrayed by Roy, and as she waits for him at the designated meeting place, a black car arrives instead. Garrett, the leader of the security department, shows Abby her locket and proposes that she join them, but she refuses. Angered by her rejection, Garrett orders Roy to kill her, but Roy refused to do so. Garrett then kills Roy with a single strike and assigns Ethan the task of eliminating Abigail instead. Ethan agrees to take out Abby. However, Bale comes to Abby's aid by razing the ground and destroying the Faceless. Bale attempts to escape, but Garrett uses a special device to stun him and lifts him up off the ground. Abigail saves Bale from being captured by the enemy and carries him back to the rebel camp despite his wounds. Abigail steps in for Marcus and provides medical care for her injured friend. After the boy regained consciousness, and Bale tell her that he can't wait and want to fight against Garrett. However, their conflict was resolved when the girl produced a device that she had discovered in her father's collection. According to Bale, the device contains a fairy that was concealed within it years ago. He explains that they had defected to the government's side, and as a result, they couldn't allow the fairy to be released into the world. The boy manages to ready Abigail to join their team and ready to attack Garrett, and instead of focusing on rescuing her father, they turn their attention towards saving the city. Abby rems about another tale her father had told her, in which he had demonstrated how to ignite a flame by sketching a weird symbol onto a piece of paper. Recalling this memory, the girl moves into the tunnels while the rebels initiate a coup. Bale and his troops starts to breaching the gate, but Abigail cautioned them that it's a trap as a massive army of inspectors has arrived from another side. This is because Bale betrayed by her friend previously and tells everything to Garrett. Despite the leader's efforts to drive the enemy forces away, deadly spells are already being hurled towards them at that very moment. As chaos erupts on the streets, crowds of enemies start scattering in different directions and turn their weapons towards each other. Abby becomes trapped in the crossfire, with gunfire coming from all directions. However, she is able to utilize her powers to destroy an entire squad in his first attack. Bale proceeds to fire a beam into the sky, signaling to the townspeople that the battle has started. The Bale is captured by them and learns that they have been betrayed by Stella, who has been secretly serving Inspector Garrett all along. The rebels destroy all incriminating evidence, realizing that the authorities will soon come after them. Abby is puzzled as to why nobody is making an effort to rescue their captured mates. As she is unable to call out to her mates, the girl decides to release the fairy, hoping that it will inspire everyone to believe in their abilities. The girl gathers her teammates and delivers a passionate speech to rally them together. She encourages everyone to join her in aiding the arrested members of their group, but after that they get to know Garrett is going to attack on them. So they will trap them and save to Bale another stranger who captured by Garrett. So they all hide in one place. As soon as Garrett attacks their place, they goes towards the tunnel. They kill some guards there and freeze the prisoners. Marcus lifts the machine into the air. There they get a flying machine and everyone enters into it. The girl released the fairy free, and it takes flight aboard a ship that travels beyond the city limits towards its newfound freedom. The ship breaches the protective dome and automatically proceeds towards the towers where the other prisoners are being held. The rebels successfully capture the guards, and Abby and her companions search the prison, hoping to locate her father, but to no avail. Abigail comes to the realization that her father works for the government and there is no point in searching for him among the prisoners. All that remains is the device he created to tackle the powers of the gifted individuals. The wrestlers ascend to the roof and spot ships heading towards the fort. In the meantime, Abby is transported back to her childhood memories, where her father provides her with clues to move forward. Abigail lifts her head, as her father had always instructed her to do, and following his clues, she discovers the solution by connecting 3 distinct devices. The girl aims to gather the rays and use them to destroy the device. The faceless men invade the fort and are ensnared in a smoke trap, causing them to fall one by one. However, Garrett arrives in the hall and effortlessly eliminates the rebels, destroy almost the entire squad within minutes. Abby realizes that something is wrong and returns to her childhood memories, seeking her father's guidance and assistance. In the flashback, the old man reveals to his daughter how he sacrificed himself when he were making this weird object to prevent Garrett from using him to destroy the gifted individuals. Garrett inflicts severe injuries on Bale, leaving him in a critical condition. As Garrett prepares to deliver the final blow to Bale, Stella steps in and shields him with her own body, sacrificing herself to save him. As Abby figures out how to destroy the device, she notices that Bale is in trouble and on the verge of defeat. Using her powers, she rushes to his aid and helps him defeat Garrett. And they finally destroy Garrett. And all the gifted people are freed from their captivity. They regain their powers, and the city begins to change. Abby looks around and sees people embracing their abilities, creating new things, and living freely. The group of rebels, Abby's friends, and the rest of the gifted people gather around, celebrating their victory. But Abigail upsets for his father's death and looks up to the sky, feeling grateful for her father's guidance and proud of what they have accomplished. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit the like button if you enjoy and subscribe my channel.